Hi and welcome to Outwell and to our Kensington 6 from our Regency collection. This is a 3-roomed, spacious tunnel design tent that has 2 bedrooms across the back, sleeping up to 6 people. A really nice feature on this tent is this generous sized porch area at the front here. So this is going to be ideal maybe to have a kitchen storage unit or some furniture and things like that. Lots of large windows around the front too, so if you are sitting across here then you're going to get nice views out of the tent. Certainly the front door here just rolls straight up, but what you will find as well is there is a mesh door which can be dropped down as well for great ventilation. If it's a hot sunny day then obviously you can leave the outside door rolled up, but drop down that mesh door just to give you a little bit more coolness and comfort inside the tent. What you'll find is separating this outside area from the main area of the tent is this large dividing wall. You can see here that there's large mesh panels on there, again for great ventilation within the main part of the tent as well. You will just see that there's a zip at the top, so this can be opened all the way around to have it either fully open or obviously you can have it closed over as well. There are curtains behind the mesh panels that I mentioned there as well, just if you want that little bit extra privacy. Certainly inside the tent you'll find there's lots and lots of space, lots of light thanks to these large windows all the way around here. Plenty of head height for me, and I'm quite tall at about 1.95 meters. You can see I've got lots and lots of space above me here. Just while I'm up here, I'll point out that we have the lantern hanging point in a good central location in the tent here, so we can just pop that there. And then what you'll find is coming away from that, you have cable tidies which run down to where we have the zips for the ground sheet just here. So just while I'm here, I'll actually talk you through the ground sheet itself. It is a full zip-in ground sheet, and in this area, obviously it goes from side to side and front to back. The nice feature of it being able to zip like this is that this is where we can bring our electrics in for a start, so you're not having cables running through your doors and things like that. But also when you come to take down the tent, you can separate the ground sheet, making sure that you can clean that nice and easily as well. The ground sheet itself is a really heavy duty polyethylene material. You'll find it's got a hydrostatic head of 10,000 millimeters. With it zipping in around the sides, you'll see there that it does come up a little bit there, so hopefully you're not going to have any drafts. You'll keep out things like dirt and sand and things like that, and also hopefully keep out those unwanted creepy crawlies too. Just while I'm down here, I'll just highlight the windows that I mentioned earlier on. Really good sized windows, allowing lots of light into the tent. And then you just find at the bottom along here we have the curtains here, so if you do want a bit more privacy, we can bring them either halfway up or we can bring them all the way to the top. Like I said, just giving you that extra bit of privacy. Along the top you'll find that we have these mesh panels running all the way along the length of the tent here. Again, just for that warmer day where you're going to want a little bit of cool fresh air getting into the tent. Across the back of the tent is where you'll find the bedrooms, and as I mentioned earlier on, we have 2 bedrooms here, each capable of sleeping 3 people. You see that the way that we have the bedrooms attached is using our stylish wave-shaped hanging point system at the top here. It's colour coordinated just to match the tones of the tent across the top here, but it also serves a good function of taking any of the stress off of the top seam of the bedroom here as well. Some other features to highlight here, you'll see that we have full mesh doors on the bedrooms themselves, and we do have curtains behind them as well, so that if you want a little bit more privacy in the bedrooms you've got that, but also you still have the option of having lots of through ventilation from the front of the tent. You'll also find that we have some handy storage pockets on the outside, ideal for smaller personal possessions. And then if we just head inside the bedrooms, we'll show you some of the features here too. At the back you'll find we have a large ventilation panel which corresponds to the outside panel on the fly sheet. We also then have some small storage pockets down the side here, ideal for your personal possessions. And in between, what you'll find is the bedroom is separated by this full sheet here which goes all the way down to the ground and zips all the way around. What you can do though is open that up as one or have it as a divider like so. Another nice feature here is that we're using our universal inners, and we'll just show you how that works. Across on the side of the tent, you'll also find that we have another side entrance just on here, and this has a full drop-down mesh door as well, again to help with ventilation. Now I mentioned the ground sheet in this area earlier on being all zipped in all the way around the edge, but I also just wanted to highlight to you that in this generous porch area that I mentioned earlier, we also have another ground sheet here. Now this is actually separate, so what you can do is you can zip this back ground sheet onto the dividing wall that we talked about. You can see that we just have it laid flat at the moment, but then the ground sheet in the front here is actually detachable. It toggles into position and has some Velcro tabs to hold it in place. But obviously you can choose whether or not to actually use the ground sheet itself. So I think now what we'll do is just pop outside and show you some of the features around the outside of the tent. So perhaps if we start with the fly sheet that we're using here, you'll find this is our Outex AirTech. Now this is a polycoton material, and this version is a 35% cotton and 65% polyester. What that means is it's going to last a good long time. It's naturally waterproof, although we do put some coating on here just so that when it's sort of light showers, you'll find the water will just bead off nicely off of the fabric. Another advantage of this type of material though is that you'll find that on warmer days it's quite breathable, so it'll keep you a little bit cooler inside, but also on colder days you'll actually react to that as well, keep you a little bit warmer, so you could say that you have some climate control with this type of material within the tent. The frame that we use on here is made up primarily for the main body of steel poles, so that's going to give you a really solid, stable structure from front to back. You'll notice that we do colour code the pole sleeves as well, just to make sure that you're going to get the right poles in the right place, so setup is as simple as possible. And then that porch area that we've already talked about is created using this Duratec fiberglass pole on the front here, which just directly attaches onto the steel pole, so you get great head height for the floor space of the tent, and like I say, that creates that large porch area. Some other highlights then on the outside would be the ventilation that we saw from the inside. So you can just see under here is where the mesh panel is that we talked about. But if it's a little bit too chilly, we can get rid of this altogether just by removing the Velcro tabs and placing this down like so. So we mentioned the windows on the inside of the tent, but I just want to highlight from the outside that these are tinted windows. So they serve two key functions. One is to give you a little bit more privacy within the tent, and two is also just to reflect any glare off the sun away from the inside. So again, just keeping you that a little bit more comfortable. Some other features then to highlight would be the wind stabilizer, which is just at the top of the pole here. Now you just see that simply to attach it, all we have to do is, when we're setting up the tent, we take these straps, we wrap them around the pole and fasten them into place using this Velcro tab just here. What you'll find is there's one at the top and at the bottom of all of the poles around the side of the tent, and this is where we have our guy lines attached. So then when we pull out the guy lines and tighten up the tent, it actually pulls the whole fly sheet against the frame, and it tautens the whole thing up, making sure that it's going to be stable even in high wind conditions. The guy lines themselves, you'll see, are our floating guy lines. So what we actually have is the luminous part at the bottom here, just to stop you from tripping over them. Then at the top we have the toned guy lines, which tie in with the colours of the tent itself, creating a sort of floating effect. Just down here you'll see that each guy line has its own retainer, so when it comes to packing down the tent, we can simply wrap up the guy line in our hands, pop it in here, so that the next time we come to use it, you don't have a big tangled mess of guy lines that you're going to spend a lot of time trying to untie. You just see here that we have our easy pegging system, so this is where we supply you with 3 different styles of pegs. We have the solid steel anchor pegs for the corners of the tent. We have the luminous pegs here for the luminous guy lines, and we also have the black plastic pegs for all of the black pegging points around the side of the tent, making sure you're going to get the right peg in the right place. Something else then just to highlight at the bottom of the tent here is we have around the porch area this mud valance, so that's just going to hopefully help water come down the tent and away from the inside of that porch. Finally, we have a couple of optional extras available for the tent. That would include a footprint to go under your ground sheet, and also a carpet, which you saw in the living area, just giving you that more luxurious touch to the inside of the tent. So that's all of the features of our Kensington 6 from the Regency collection. Thank you very much for watching.